37,000 years ago. No numbers existed then, and there was no mathematics either. Then how did numbers appear? The story may have begun on a night like this. Inside a cave on the land of Africa, a bunch of cavemen gathered by the fire, eating baboon meat they had just finished cooking. After this rich dinner, these cavemen fell asleep, one by one. Then, a young little caveman got up secretly. He had a bone in his hand. Such a dull life living in the cave, the bone was his only toy. He walked up to the cave entrance without a sound. It was such a dangerous move, for the grown-ups had said, "There are man-eating monsters outside of the cave." But the little caveman forgot about their warnings and sneaked out of the cave. He had never been outside at night. He ran and ran, so excited to be on the hills. Suddenly, he raised his head, and the moon was in his eyes. The moon was huge and extra round, much better than the red butt of a baboon. For a long time he watched, and he grew fond of the moon ever since. But it was strange to him that the moon was getting smaller day by day. It shrunk from a full round moon to a half, then a crescent, and finally it disappeared. The little caveman was very upset. He thought he couldn't see the full moon anymore. However, a few days later, he found the moon getting bigger day by day. The crescent went back to a half, and the half went back to being a full round moon. Does the moon change like this all the time? And when will it be till I see the full moon again? He decided that from that day on to cut a line on the bone as each day passed, until the full round moon appeared again. One day after another, the lines on the bone grew more and more. Only when he reached the 28th line did the full round moon appear again. He had finally discovered the secret of the moon. For every 28 days, the moon would go back to its original look. The little caveman may be the first on Earth to find out about this secret, and the secret was cut onto his precious bone. 37,000 years later, archaeologists found this bone on a mountain called Lubombo. More than 30,000 years have passed. We can still see the 28 lines on the bone. This is the earliest record of numbers that we have discovered to date. From all over the world, people also found marks on various bones. We are not sure why the ancient people would do that. The best guess is to record time, just like the little caveman we mentioned earlier. 28 days happens to be the exact time cycle between the two full moons, so the assumptions in the story are likely to be true. Recording time could do a lot of good for ancient people. For example, they could know how many days there were before winter came, so they could hurry to prepare the food for it. They could know how long it would take for the antelopes to come by, therefore digging the hunting trap beforehand. But the main concern for us is how they record numbers. The ancient people all chose the same approach, to count by cutting lines. The best thing about this is the simplicity, as now we use this approach to count the bones. One bone for one line, 2 bones for 2 lines, and so on. Soon enough, however, this approach to recording numbers has shown its downside. If there were 10 bones, we would need to cut 10 lines. What if there were hundreds, even thousands of them? We would have to cut so many lines. This is just too much work. People needed to invent a brand new way to record numbers. Symbols. This would first take place in the Mesopotamian plains more than 5,000 years ago, and the history of mathematics and the invention of such symbols had begun.